This is Module 5, Lesson 37. In this lesson, we'll be finding the product of a whole number and a mixed number using the distributive property. Let's start with the mixed number of 3 1/5. And let's make a tape diagram showing this by units. So we have ones, 3 ones, and our fractional part is 1/5. So we've divided this by units, 3 ones and 1/5. Now let's say we want to show 2 times that. So one way of doing that would simply be to draw another 3 and another 1/5. And we see here we've got a 3 and a 1/5 and another 3 and another 1/5. Or we could group them by units and say we have 2 3s and 2 1/5s. So we could draw another tape diagram where we put the units next to each other. So we have a 3 and another 3 and a 1/5 and another 1/5. So this is 2 different tape diagrams showing 3 and 1/5 2 times, either keeping 3 and 1/5 together and doing it 2 times, or grouping the same units together to get 2 3s and 2 1/5s. So writing at a number equation, 2 times 3 and 1/5, we could group these and say it's 2 times 3 plus 2 times 1/5. And if we complete this, 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 times 1/5 is 2/5. So our solution would be 2, 6 and 2/5. Looking at a different one. Let's say we have 5 and 2/10. This is the same as 5 plus 2/10 if we separate the units. Let's say we want to do 4 times that. So 4 times 5 and 2/10. We could write it as 4 times 5 plus 2/10. We said here 5 and 2/10 is equal to 5 plus 2/10, so we substituted that in here. Now we're going to distribute the 4 over both parts of the mixed number. So this would be equal to 4 times 5, distributing the 4 over the whole number 5, plus 4 times the fractional part. Then if we solve this, 4 times 5 is 20, plus 4 times 2/10 is 8/10, for a sum of 20 and 8/10. Let's look at one more. 3 times 7 and 3/4. Again, distributing the 3, we could say this is 3 times 7 plus 3 times 3/4. Since we know that 7 and 3/4 is equivalent to 7 plus 3/4, then if we solve, we get 21 plus 9/4. And since 9/4 represents a number greater than 1, we're going to decompose it into a mixed number of 2 and 1/4. 2 because 4/4 is equal to 1, so 8/4 would be equal to 2 with 1/4 left. Now we can add the whole numbers together and get 23, and the fractional part 1/4. So 3 times 7 and 3/4 is 23 and 1/4. Okay, let's look at a word problem. In April, Jenny ran a marathon as part of a team relay. She ran 6 and 55 hundredths of a mile. In September, Jenny ran 4 times as far to complete the marathon on her own. How far did Jenny run in September? So if this is what she ran, in April, and she ran 4 times that, we could show that in a tape diagram. So this is what she ran in April. And then in September, she ran 4 times that. So now we could show that as a number sentence in that 6 55/100 is what she ran in April, and in September she ran 4 times that. So now we can use the distributive property to distribute 4 over the 2 parts of the mixed number. So we would have 4 times 6 plus 4 times 55/100. So that would give us 4 times 6 is 24, plus 4 times 55 would be 220 hundredths. And that would decompose into 2 with 20 hundredths left. And if we add them together, that would be 26 and 20 hundredths. So to answer our question, in September, Jenny ran 26 and 20 hundredth miles. And we could simplify 20 hundredths to 1/5. So Jenny ran 26 and 1/5 miles, or 26 and 20 hundredths miles. Let's try some problems in our problem set. Okay, for number 1, we're going to draw a tape diagram to show 2 ways to represent 2 units of 4 and 3 2/3. So we could show them separately 2 times or grouping the same units together. So try number 1. Okay, so we could show this as 4 and 2/3, and then 4 and 2/3 again. And it tells us to write the multiplication expression to match this. So this would be 2 times 4 and 2/3. The other thing we could do is show the tape diagram by units. We're going to do 4 2 times and 2/3 2 times. And the multiplication sentence for this would be 2 times 4 plus 2 times 2/3. Okay, going on to number 2. It says solve the following using distributive property. The first one's done, and as soon as you're ready, you can omit the step in line 2. So this step here, when you can do this part in your head, you don't need to write this part down. So try B by yourself, following the pattern in A. So we start with 2 times 4 plus 2/3. And let's write out that line 2 this time. So this would be 2 times 4 plus 2 times 2/3, which would be 8 plus 4/3. And 4/3 would be equal to 1 1/3. So we would finally end up with 9 1/3. Okay, try C. You can skip line 2 if you can. If you still need to write it, that's fine. Okay, for C, we're doing 3 times 2 plus 5/8. So if we can do this part in our head, we're doing 3 times 2 is 6, plus 3 times 5/8 would be 15/8. And then we're going to say that this is 6 plus, and we're rewriting this as a mixed number, which would be 1 7/8. And so we would do 7 7/8. Try D. For D, we have 2 times 4 plus 7/10. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 7/10 would be 14/10. That would be equal to 8 plus 1 4/10, which would be 9 4/10. Or if you simplify, 9 2/5. Try E. For E, we have 3 times 7 plus 3/4. So if we multiply, 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 3/4 is 9/4. We change 9/4 into a mixed number. Add the whole numbers and the fractional part for 23 1/4. Try F. F is 6 times 3 plus 1/2. Multiplying, 6 times 3 is 18, plus 6 times 1/2 is 6 halves, which equals to 18 plus 3, which is 21. Try G. G is 4 times 9 plus 1/5. So first we multiply the whole numbers. 4 times 9 is 36. And the fractional part, 4 times 1/5 is 4/5. So we end up with 36 4/5. Try H. 4 times 5 plus 6/8. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 4 times 6 is 24/8. 24/8 is equal to 3, so our solution is 23. Try number 3. Okay, for one dance costume, Seisha needs 4 2/3 feet of ribbon. And how much does she need for 5 identical costumes? So we could show this as a tape diagram. We would need this identical amount 5 times. Then as a number sentence, it's 5 times 4 2/3, which would be equal to 20, plus 10/3, which would be equal to 20, plus 3 1/3, which would be 23 1/3 feet. So Seisha would need 23 1/3 feet of ribbon to make 5 costumes. And that's the end of lesson 37.